There's so many ways that we can steward our suffering, but so often we just want to have, for lack of better words, a pity party. So this week, guys, we're talking a little bit about suffering and how we should steward our suffering. So often we avoid suffering, but I think the gospel would actually call us to steward that suffering. So let's go into Philippians 1. We're going to start in verse 12, and we're going to read a little bit here. This is Paul. He's in prison. I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. Skip down a little bit. This will turn out for my deliverance, as it is my eager expectation and hope that I will not be at all ashamed, but that with full courage now, as always with Christ, will be honored in my body, whether by life or by death. For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. So often when we enter into seasons of suffering in our life, we wallow in it. We avoid it. We try not to talk about it. We really hate it. And I understand, because suffering is uncomfortable, and it should be. That's why it's called suffering. But one of the things I want you to think about here is, are you stewarding your suffering? We all suffer. Suffering is a part of the natural human experience. And so whether or not you think you can avoid it, you will eventually experience suffering. But in your suffering, are you wallowing in it? Are you having a pity party for yourself? It doesn't matter what it is. It could be family loss. It could be health. It could be financial. It could be job related. It could be any sort of things. But when you're in the midst of that suffering, are you still trying to give God glory? Paul, he's in prison. And you notice, instead of going to prison and sitting there and pouting, oh man, I can't believe I'm in prison for this, he says, you know what? Actually, the whole guard has now heard the gospel, and they all know why I'm here. I'm not wasting my time. Maybe you're laid up in a hospital. Does the whole nursing staff know the God that you serve? Maybe you're losing family members left and right, or at least it feels that way. Do the people you encounter at the funerals, do they know about the God that you serve? Maybe you've lost your job. In the midst of going from job to job, are you talking to people about what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're trusting the Lord in this season? There's so many ways that we can steward our suffering, but so often we just want to have, for lack of better words, a pity party. We want to sit here and say, woe is me, everybody come help me, come save me, come comfort me. And that's okay, because the body of Christ should do those things for you. But in the midst of your suffering, if your eyes are truly focused on Jesus, you should say, you know what? Even if I were to die in this moment, it's a gain for me. So what do I have to lose elsewhere? Are you truly approaching your suffering in a way where you're saying, this may be a season that I'm going through, but I'm going to pursue God's glory. I'm going to share my testimony, and I'm going to seek God's face in this situation and hope that He comes through for me. But what I'm here to tell you today is that Christ would have us take all situations, whether life or death, and use it for His glory, use it for the advancement of the gospel. And so whatever scenario you're in right now, first of all, are you truly trusting the Lord? Or are you mad at Him? Are you frustrated with Him? Are you not really believing that He's good and He has good for you? I know sometimes it's a mystery how things are good for us until we finally see it one day, but are you truly trusting Him? And in the midst of that, are you sharing that with other people? Are you showing people what an example of full faith in Jesus looks like, where no matter what happens to you, your eyes are still fixed on Him, you're still giving Him glory, and you're still sharing the gospel with people around you? So that's what I want to challenge you with, is in the midst of whatever your suffering is, big or small, doesn't matter, are you truly giving God glory? Are you sharing testimony for the furtherment of the gospel? And are you pushing back darkness by the power of the blood and the word of your testimony? That's it for us today, guys. As always, you can find us, Hope Church Carrollton, 306 Burns Road in Carrollton, Georgia. Service starts at 10 o'clock on Sundays, 6:30 on Wednesdays. I'll catch you next time.